The former class beauty turns 10-year reunion into mystery boxes. She wants to see how they're doing. But the once top student is now overweight, staying home with the kids, and the handsome school heartthrob has become a woman when they meet again. She posts these meetings online and gains millions of followers overnight. When she picks the next classmate, viewers want her to meet the head-down guy on the far left of the graduation photo. He looks ordinary, with thick bangs covering half his face. The class beauty glances over, but can't remember who he is. In her memory, this guy was quiet, always walking with his head down, a total wallflower with zero presence. She looks at the photo, finally remembers Fong Yuan, and starts introducing him. The live stream explodes with comments. Notice how every class has those nameless faces. People only remember the standouts and top students. Guys lie him won't amount to anything in life. Who says being a loner means bad social skills? Seeing the tension rise, Class beauty by Ningbing quickly smooths things over. At the same time, she decides to meet this old classmate she barely remembers. Just then, I'm in my delivery uniform, riding my e-bike, waiting at a red light. I look up and see an old classmate in a luxury car. He politely asks for my number and says we should hang out sometime. But soon after, I get a call from an unknown number. Hello, is this Fong Yuan? The voice pauses, then adds, I'm Bai Ningbing, your high school classmate. I'm stunned for a second. After a while, I remember the class beauty Bai. Long time no talk. I ask, what, is the big school beauty getting married? If you're borrowing money, no deal. That shuts Bai Ningbing up. She takes a moment to recover. No, I'm not getting married and not borrowing money. Before she finishes, I add, then I get it. Send me the link, I'll help you cut a deal. I'm a new user. The live stream cracks up. This Fong guy is hilarious, but he's so real. An old classmate you haven't heard from in years, either getting married or borrowing money. Bai Ningbing glances at the comments and snaps back to reality. Yeah, that's true, she quickly explains. Fong, you've got it wrong. I'm doing a live stream event. I want to catch up with high school classmates. Do you have time? I can wait for you. Since she's being so polite, I don't refuse. Alright, I'm free next Saturday. I'll contact you then. As I say that, a woman's angry voice yells from the other end. Look at the time. The food's cold. Can you eat it? Bai Ningbing is stunned. So is the live stream. The classmate Ningbing is meeting is a delivery guy? I think you should pick someone else next time. What's so interesting about a delivery guy? I wanted to see an underdog Shitari, but reality is harsh. Most people are destined to be average. Seeing the comments, Bai Ningbing feels a bit uneasy. She knows this might hurt her views, but she doesn't care too much. She forces a smile. Since I promised Fong, I won't break my word. And I think all jobs are equal. Being a delivery guy isn't inferior. They're not stealing. They earn a living honestly. That deserves respect. Hearing this, the live stream floods with likes. Saturday comes, and Bai Ningbing starts her she-trim. The chat explodes. Ever since I found out my goddess's classmate is a delivery guy, I can't stop picturing it. He's in his yellow uniform, riding his scooter to pick up Ningbing. Seeing these comments, Bai Ningbing is taken aback. She can't help but imagine it too, and shivers involuntarily. What's there to worry about? A scooter is just transportation. She reassures herself. Soon, she arrives at the meeting spot. Just then, a luxury car slowly approaches her. What she doesn't expect is that it stops right in front of her. The door opens, and an ordinary-looking man steps out, smiling at her. Bai Ningbing frowns slightly. She's used to people hitting on her. Most get politely turned down. I smile at her confused face. You're the class beauty Bai, right? Forgot we planned to meet today. Bai Ningbing is completely stunned. The live stream goes wild. No way. A delivery guy? How can he afford $1 million car? I bet it's rented. You guessed it. The car is rented from my shop. Bai Ningbing isn't sure if it's rented, but seeing a fan say it's from their shop, she stops doubting. Little does she know, that fan was just joking. She hesitates. Fong Yuan, this car. Seeing her expression, I'm confused. What about the car? I was in a rush. Just grabbed one from home. As I say that, the live stream erupts. I don't know why, but I hate this Fong Yuan. He's clearly a delivery guy, but he's pretending to be rich to impress our goddess. Total loser alert. Bai Ningbing ignores the hateful comments. Just looks at me, torn inside. Should I tell him that his identity is already exposed? He's probably doing this to make a good impression. That's why he rented a luxury car. I don't know any of this and smile, inviting her. It's almost noon. How about we grab a bite and chat? In the car, Bai Ningbing asks about my job. I casually say I'm a freelancer. She breathes a sigh of relief. She was afraid I'd claim to be 11IO of some company. That would just make the netizens laugh. Then she asks about my love life. I tell her I'm married with kids. Bai Ningbing falls silent. She thinks the same as some netizens. He has a family, but he still rents a luxury car for show. Is it worth it? She asks about my wife. I sigh. She's busier than me at work. We don't really need her income, so I support her. Hearing this, Bai Ningbing almost chokes on her own spit. The netizens go crazy with complaints. This guy is so cringe. Still pretending. We don't need the money. Letting his wife work and acting so noble. Shameless. But as I say this, I can't help but show a loving father's smile. While waiting at a red light, I pull out my phone to show pictures of my kids. Bai Ningbing takes it and looks. She's frozen in SOC. Are these kids really yours? I laugh helplessly. Yeah, they're mine. Can't you see the resemblance? Bai Ningbing realizes her mistake. Quickly apologizes. Sorry, I was just surprised. This makes the netizens even more curious. They all want to see the photos too. With my permission, Bai Ningbing points the camera at the photo. The live stream explodes again. Oh my god, so cute. These kids must look like their mom. Did you notice? They kind of look like the versatile star Lu Ruyan. Could their mom be Lu Ruyan? No way. Even if the star was blind, she wouldn't marry a delivery guy. Seeing the comments, Bai Ningbing is stunned. She picks up the phone and looks closely. This is a mini version of Lu Ruyan. She grins and asks me, can I visit your place to see the kids? Netizens want to see the mini star too. I smile and nod. I'm picking them up from kindergarten at 2 p.m. We can go together. Bai Ningbing is thrilled. Lu Ruyan is her AI too. Seeing a mini version makes her really happy. Soon, the car pulls into an old restaurant's parking lot. Getting out, Bai Ningbing is shocked. This restaurant is a century-old establishment. One meal here costs a month's salary. She quickly shakes her head. It's too expensive. Let's go somewhere else. I wave it off. It's fine. We haven't seen each other in years. Don't be polite. Besides, I don't care much about money. Making money is easy for me. But hearing this, netizens think I'm really overdoing the act. These classmates are hilarious. Doesn't he know his own worth? Bringing our Ningbing to such a fancy place. Bai Ningbing isn't watching the she-trim, but she knows people are laughing at me. She wants to tell me that my delivery guy identity is already exposed. Stop bragging. But she's afraid of embarrassing me. Seeing me suddenly quiet, I smile. Alright, let me teach you how to make quick money. With that, I drive around the parking lot. Spotting a luxury sports car trying to park, I suddenly speed up and park right behind it. Bai Ningbing and the netizens are confused. There are so many empty spots. Why fight for this one? Just as everyone thinks I'm trying to scam insurance. My move leaves everyone speechless. The sports car owner angrily curses. I pull out 800 yuan and hand it over. I'm too lazy to find a spot. Here's 800. Take it and find another spot. Consider it making a friend. The sports car owner frowns, pulls out his wallet without looking, grabs a stack of cash and throws it at me, sneering. I don't want this spot anymore. I was showing off before you were even born. In the sports car, the beauty in the passenger seat coos. Honey, you're so manly. Watching the owner throw cash and drive off, netizens' eyes widen. Holy crap. Bai Ningbing looks on in disbelief. I pick up the cash from the ground and smile at him. That guy's pretty rich. 6,500 yuan. Our lunch is covered today. Bai Ningbing's mouth twitches. She could never do something like that. But the live stream goes wild. Wow, he made over 6,000 in a few minutes. That's so easy. I just tried it. Made 100,000. Now I'm in the hospital. Got beaten up by the owner. Soon after, I wave the stack of cash and lead Bai Ningbing into the restaurant. She glances at the menu and flinches. In her eyes, I'm just ordering expensive dishes to show off. But seeing how calm I am, she's a bit confused. Feels like I come here often. I shake my head and say to her, Bai, I've been wanting to tell you something. I don't watch streams much, but I think your she-trim is lacking. It's boring and dull. Bai Ningbing is stunned. Why do you think that? She feels a bit defensive. I'm a top-tier streamer with millions of followers. I smile and see my thoughts. We've had almost no interaction this whole time, even though we're just old classmates. This is a live stream. You have to act like you're close, even with strangers. Bai Ningbing's expression turns awkward. She knows this, but the problem is she's afraid to ask. The netizens react even more. A delivery guy pretending to be rich. How is our Ningbing supposed to interact? Our Ningbing not interacting is saving face for you. If it were me, I'd say it to his face. You're a delivery guy. Stop pretending. And you want to teach me about streaming? Bai Ningbing glances at the comments. Can't help but sneak a look at me, wanting to expose me. No. If I tell him the truth, he'll be so embarrassed. But if I don't, his actions will just make the netizens laugh. Just as she's torn about whether to speak, a private message pops up. It's from her best friend and partner, Zhou Shuya. Ningbing, I know what you're thinking. Don't tell him the truth yet. The she-trim is at its peak popularity. After it ends, we can invite him to join our studio. He could become a million-follower influencer. His income would be way higher than delivering food. In Zhou Shuya's view, Fang Yuan is a talent. Forget the pretending. That parking lot trick. Only someone with his mindset could come up with that. Seeing this message, Bai Ningbing feels a huge weight lift off her shoulders. I smile and shake my head. Are the netizens mocking me for pretending to be rich? Bai Ningbing's eyes widen. How did you know? I also know that from the moment we met. Netizens said my car was rented. I say with a smile. You shouldn't care about online comments. Just know that people unhappy in real life show their true colors online. They express their opinions without restraint. It's just jealousy. Laughing at others' lack and hating their gain is human nature. As a streamer, you should be more open-minded. Bai Ningbing is completely stunned. The live stream laughs. That's hilarious. Who does he think he is? An expert or professor lecturing people? A delivery guy. Why would we be jealous of him? I hate people who pretend to be rich. If I didn't know the truth, I'd almost think he's some successful person. I don't realize. These words have upset the netizens. I just look at Bai Ningbing and smile. We're old classmates meeting up. Don't mind what others say. Relax. Ask whatever you want. Why worry so much? It's only then. Bai Ningbing suddenly realizes, from the moment we met, I've been the one leading the conversation, and even teaching netizens how to make quick money. Thinking about it, she feels a wave of shame. She takes a deep breath, clears her mind of all the clutter, and asks seriously. Feng, I remember you often took leave in senior year, and you didn't take the college entrance exam. I nod. Yeah, that year, some of our family land was expropriated. We got a few hundred million compensation. The live stream explodes with laughter. That's hilarious. Only someone who didn't finish high school would say that. In the real world, can knowledge be measured by money? Money runs out, but knowledge is like a spring, never ending. I know being uneducated is bad. So here's the question. 100 million or a Tsinghua acceptance letter. Which would you choose? Bai Ningbing ignores the comments. Just looks at me curiously. So you dropped out because of the compensation? I shrug casually. College is for gaining knowledge. For me, there's nothing left to learn there. Bai Ningbing thinks to herself. You told me to ask anything, but you can't answer like that without limits. As expected, the live stream is about to explode again. At the same time, netizens have turned me into a meme with various captions. Nothing left to learn in college. Making money is easy. Our land compensation wasn't much, just a few hundred million. Little did they know. My meme spreads like wildfire, quickly going viral online. Bai Ningbing looks at me with a complex expression. She regrets not telling me about the exposure from the start, which has made me even more addicted to pretending. Despite the restaurant's excellent food, she has no appetite. She takes a deep breath and looks at me. Feng, you said your family's land was expropriated with compensation of a few hundred million. But as far as I know, except for some cities, most rural land compensation isn't that high. Hearing this, the live stream gets lively. Netizens excitedly flood the chat. Ningbing's question is so sharp, right to the point. Let's see how he covers this, but I'm not flustered at all. I say calmly, I thought it was something serious. Most rural compensation isn't high, that's true. But our land was special, so we got more. Hearing this, netizens are unhappy again. Ningbing, don't believe him. If he really got 100 million, I'll eat my own words. Land is special. In the countryside, forget 100 million. Even a few million is a stretch. Bai Ningbing ignores the comments. Just feels disappointed in me. In her memory, I was an honest and simple person. She didn't expect that in the real world. I'd become complicated and flashy. She looks serious and gives me a lecture. I don't bother explaining much. Just change the subject and bring up old jokes. The class beauty still loves lecturing people. After a pause, I ask, do you know why I agreed to meet? Why? Bai Ningbing asks instinctively. She doesn't find the question strange. Because most male classmates agree to meet. She can't explain why. Seeing her confusion, I smile lightly. In high school, I was shy, not good with words. No one really talked to me. But you'd occasionally ask about my grades and encourage me to study hard. It might be small to you, but to me, it made me feel less ignored. Bai Ningbing's cheeks flush as she looks at me. I'm sure many people remember you. She's not blushing because of my words, but because she did that to improve her class ranking. Of course, she can't say that. Meanwhile, on a film set, many staff are staring at a stunningly beautiful woman in ancient costume. She has delicate features and an elegant air. Every move she makes is graceful. This woman is none other than the national goddess, Lu Ruyan. Those who don't know her might think she's cold and aloof, but those who know her know she's actually very warm. Many people wonder, who could marry such a woman? Inside and outside the industry, Lu Ruyan's husband remains a mystery, but everyone knows her husband is no ordinary man. Once, an entertainment company, 11IO, tried to force her to accompany him, threatening to blacklist her if she didn't comply. The company went bankrupt within days, leaving the industry in SOC. That was one of the top 3 companies in the country. This incident made many realize how terrifying the power behind Lu Ruyan is. Right now, she's sitting in a chair, reading a script. Suddenly, she hears a faint voice. This Fong Yuan is so funny. A high school dropout, saying college has nothing to teach him. Lu Ruyan thinks she misheard and doesn't pay attention, but the low chatter continues. Actually, I can understand why he rented a luxury car to meet the class beauty. She stands up and walks over to the 2 girls. I heard you chatting excitedly. What are you talking about? Can you tell me? The 2 girls are startled by Lu Ruyan's sudden appearance. They quickly respond. Goddess Lu, we're watching a live stream. It's a popular female streamer meeting her high school classmates. This episode's male classmate is really interesting. Listening to them, Lu Ruyan takes the phone and looks at the live stream. An ordinary-looking man was having dinner with a pretty woman. Chatting and laughing, Lu Ruyan squinted her beautiful eyes. Her red lips curled into a beautiful arc. This scene stunned the 2 girls. So beautiful. Lu Ruyan returned the phone to them, smiled and thanked them, nodded slightly and left. Back at her seat, she immediately took out her phone, opened the lie she trimmed from earlier. The calm men's section was going crazy, all saying Ningbing was the ordinary-looking man's first flop. Lu Ruyan looked at the comments. Her red lips curled again, watched with interest. But when she saw comments saying the man was pretending to be rich, she frowned slightly. Her assistant felt the air around them getting colder. On the other side, a man's voice interrupted my conversation with Bai Ningbing. The newcomer was high school classmate Lin Tianyu. He sat down pretending to be humble, but his eyes clearly showed a hint of mockery towards me. Her appearance made the female netizens in the lie she trimmed starry-eyed. Bai Ningbing was about to introduce him, but I spoke first. I know we met a few days ago. Then I invited him to join us for dinner. Just then, beautiful piano music filled the hall. The song ended. The hall was quiet for a moment. Then applause rang out. Lin Tianyu smiled at Bai Ningbing. That pianist just now wasn't that good. How about I play a song? I'm a student of Mr. Li Yigua. Bai Ningbing's eyes widened. Li Yigua is a famous pianist in the country. Lin Tianyu smiled confidently, walked slowly to the piano in the center of the hall, enjoying the attention around him. He slowly raised his hand. His fingers lightly pressed the keys. Lie, a noble prince, instantly attracted the gaze of all the women present. The song ended. Applause erupted. Although Lin Tianyu looked calm, he was very proud inside. Ningbing, how do you think I played? Very nice. Bai Ningbing hadn't studied piano systematically. She just thought it sounded good. After getting the class beauty's approval, he then turned his disdainful gaze to me. Classmate, what do you think? I didn't even think. It was okay, but far worse than the pianist just now. Lin Tianyu almost laughed out loud. He wanted to point at my nose and ask, you, a delivery guy, what do you know about playing piano? Some in the lie she trim also thought Lin Tianyu wasn't that good, but they were quickly drowned out by trolls. Lin Tianyu said sarcastically, then why don't you play a song, classmate Fong? Let me learn from you. I nodded, walked towards the center of the hall. Soon, beautiful piano music slowly started. It was the same song Lin Tianyu had just played. The lie she trim exploded instantly. Damn, this Fong Yuan really can play piano. He actually pulled it off this time. It's the same song, but I feel Fong Yuan played it better than Lin Tianyu. It wasn't just netizens who thought so. Bai Ningbing was also shocked. Lin Tianyu's face grew uglier and uglier. At the same time, in a classroom at the Kyoto Conservatory of music, beautiful notes filled the air. All the students were gathered around watching the lie she trim. Don't you think Fong Yuan plays better than our teacher Lu? The students whispered, not knowing a middle-aged man was walking over slowly. The middle-aged man coughed lightly, looking serious. Don't you know class has started? Still playing Mozart's piano piece. Teacher, it's not a recording. Someone is playing. The teacher was stunned, quickly picked up the phone and looked. A flash of SOC in his eyes. Seeing his expression, a student asked, teacher, how does your piano level compare to that person in the lie she trim? The teacher shook his head. I'm not as good as him. All the students were stunned. Teacher Lu's piano level was among the best in the academy. Teacher Lu savored it quietly, sighed in his heart. The person in the lie she trim felt like Mozart was playing, and Mozart is recognized as the world's #1 pianist. Seeing someone in the lie she trim belittling Fong Yuan, Teacher Lu immediately took the student's phone and replied, I am a teacher at the Kyoto Conservatory of music. This is my work ID and piano grade certificate. I can confirm Fong Yuan's piano level is very high, at least higher than mine. As soon as this calm man appeared, the lie she trim was instantly flooded with damn. The Kyoto Conservatory of music has a very high status in Donghua, let alone someone who teaches there. Lin Tianyu noticed Bai Ningbing staring at her phone in a daze, asked what was up. Bai Ningbing looked up and told him about the lie she trim. Lin Tianyu frowned. Is it possible that teacher is fake? He naturally didn't believe Fong Yuan's piano level was that high, but to not seem jealous, he explained, Ningbing, you know there are too many fake things on lie. Any picture can be faked. This resonated with the trolls in the lie she trim. Classmate Lin is right. Who knows if that teacher is real or fake? Nowadays everything can be photoshopped. Maybe the ID is photoshopped too, but they didn't expect? Teacher Lu saw someone saying his ID was photoshopped. Immediately contacted the academy's publicity department, asking them to pot an explanation. Seeing the official pot from the Kyoto Conservatory of Myodaik, Bai Ningbing got excited. Classmate Lin, look, the Kyoto Conservatory of Myodaik posted an official statement saying Teacher Lu really is their teacher. Lin Tianyu smiled fakely. I didn't expect classmate Fong to be so talented. Even the academy teacher praised him, but a hint of resentment and jealousy flashed in his eyes. He should have been the one enjoying the beauty's admiration, but Fong Yuan, that bastard, ruined it. Just then, the originally cheerful piano Myodaik suddenly became fast and urgent. Urgent notes echoed in the hall. Lie waves in a storm, making people's emotions rise and fall. Sometimes excited, sometimes nervous. Everyone was stunned, quietly immersed in the Myodaik. After finishing a piece of Moonlight Sonata, I slowly stood up. The hall was dead silent. After a brief silence, everyone stood up and applauded. Applause echoed throughout the hall, much more enthusiastic than when Lin Tianyu played. At this moment, I felt like a victorious general returning. Classmate Fong, I didn't know you were hiding your talents. Lin Tianyu smiled warmly, but his words implied I was being sneaky, pretending not to know piano before. That's not right. I slowly shook my head. I said I only know a little. Lin Tianyu was speechless. You call that knowing a little? Then what does he call it? But then he thought, even without a high school diploma, what's the use of playing piano well? Isn't he still a delivery guy? Classmate Fang, who did you learn piano from? Bai Ningbing asked curiously. I taught myself in my spare time. Playing piano is just a hobby. I smiled slightly. This calm man made the Lai Shi trim lively again. This is probably reality. Playing piano is a hobby. Delivering food is life. Facts prove, no matter how talented, without financial support, you can only bow to life. Seeing these comments, Bai Ningbing's eyes became complicated. Yeah, he's not alone anymore. He has to support his family and make a living. How can he have time to pursue hobbies? Classmate Fong, if you have any difficulties, you can tell us. Lin Tianyu sighed, implying I was too embarrassed to speak because of the Lai Shi trim. After all, we're all classmates. We'll help if we can. Bai Ningbing also wanted to help me, but didn't plan to say it in the Lai Shi trim. She wanted to ask after the Lai Shi trim ended, but Lin Tianyu beat her to it. But she didn't think much of it. She just thought Lin Tianyu meant well. Lin Tianyu took a business card from his chest pocket and handed it to me. I took it and looked. You real estate president Lin Tianyu. He smiled humbly. It's nothing. Just a small company. But the company is applying for listing. The market value might multiply several times then. I could tell he was showing off, but I didn't care at all. Just said a faint Seeing my attitude, Lin Tianyu frowned, feeling very annoyed, but couldn't show it. The rest of the meal was mostly Lin Tianyu and Bai Ningbing chatting. Seeing me eating quietly, Bai Ningbing felt a pang of guilt. I'm going to the restroom. Bai Ningbing felt it was about time and stood up. To pay the bill. Just say pay the bill. Why say restroom? I, who had been quiet, suddenly laughed. Bai Ningbing was embarrassed and flustered, not expecting me to guess her intention. Classmate Lin, don't make things difficult for me. The rule of our Lai Shi trim is, all expenses during the Lai Shi trim are covered by my company. I can get reimbursed. I thought for a moment, so I didn't refuse. A flash of contempt passed through Lin Tianyu's eyes. In his view, I agreed so quickly, because I couldn't afford the meal. The Lai Shi trim also started mocking. Hilarious. He only brought enough for 3 dishes and a soup. Classmate Lin ordered more. Not enough money, right? Didn't he say he got hundreds of millions in compensation? Why can't he even afford a meal, and needs a woman to pay? Compared to my quick agreement, Lin Tianyu strongly opposed Bai Ningbing paying, saying paying the bill should be a man's job, which earned her favor from many female netizens. But male netizens dismissed Lin Tianyu, thinking he was a wolf in sheep's clothing, with ulterior motives. For a moment, the Lai Shi trim was divided between men and women. How about we split the bill, so we don't have to argue? I suggested with a smile. At that moment, Bai Ningbing really disliked Lin Tianyu. This meeting was originally with me. You joined in and stole the show. Just then, I suddenly called out to Bai Ningbing, took a coupon from my wallet and handed it to her. Bai Ningbing took it and was stunned. 90% off. The Lai Shi trim exploded instantly. Damn, that's so generous. Even a clearance deal isn't this cheap. But is it normal for this restaurant to issue a 90% off coupon? Probably related to his identity. Don't forget, he's a delivery guy. He knows the restaurant staff. Having an internal discount isn't surprising. Seeing this calm man, Bai Ningbing suddenly understood. After paying, I had something come up and left first. This surprised Bai Ningbing. She really wanted to see my 2 children back at the studio in the afternoon. Bai Ningbing didn't even have time to rest before colleagues surrounded her to celebrate, because the Lai Shi trim had set a record of 1 million concurrent viewers. And it was all because of me. Bai Ningbing lay on the sofa and said to Zhou Shuya. Fong Yuan suddenly left. I didn't get to ask him about joining the studio. Zhou Shuya told her to call and ask, but strangely, my phone showed out of service. This made people think too much. Given Longgua's infrastructure mania, places without signal don't exist. Now we just have to wait. The next day, Bai Ningbing started streaming again. After a heated argument among netizens, she decided to meet a short, chubby female classmate. This time, she found her with just a little inquiry. They agreed on a meeting place. Bai Ningbing waited for her, while chatting with fans. Then a gentle voice came. She turned the camera towards the voice. As soon as netizens saw who it was, the calm men section went crazy. The person in the frame was a great beauty. Lu Nan flicked her wavy hair, giving a seductive visual impact. Bai Ningbing really didn't recognize her. After all, no matter what high school classmates go through, they usually retain some of their student-era features. But this one was completely transformed. Lu Nan's appearance instantly boosted the Lai Shi trim's effect. But Bai Ningbing felt her face looked fake. Especially when she smiled, it was a bit stiff. During the chat, netizens learned Lu Nan was still single. She usually records her beautiful life on short videos. Her Oats Out, which had over 10,000 followers, after the Lai Shi trim exposure, skyrocketed to over 200,000 in a short time. Bai Ningbing, at the request of netizens, dug into Lu Nan's current life and work, letting everyone have a peek. But unexpectedly, after this Lai Shi trim, Bai Ningbing's traffic for meeting high school classmates clearly declined. Zhou Shuya frowned thoughtfully. As expected, it was Lu Nan also starting to Shi trim, but she was meeting junior high school classmates. Her Lai Shi trim title was million follower internet celebrity Bai Ningbing's high school classmate Lu Nan. This was clearly riding on her popularity. No wonder the Lai Shi trim's popularity had been declining. What's more infuriating, Lu Nan already had 2 million followers by riding on her popularity. Zhou Shuya had expected this day to come, but didn't expect the backstabber to be Bai Ningbing's own classmate. However, Bai Ningbing didn't mind after finding out. After all, she was just the first to try. Copycats were bound to to appear. But surprisingly, Lin Tianyu, Lu Nan, and Fang Yuan weren't just high school classmates. They were also junior high school classmates. And Lu Nan was now meeting Lin Tianyu, who had assets in the hundreds of millions. He blinked his eyes, suddenly mentioned me, saying my family got hundreds of millions in compensation from demolition, which made her envious. Lin Tianyu looked disdainful, directly revealed in the livestream how he saw me looking down and out while delivering food. The two talked about this. Netizens also suggested Lu Nan meet me next time. As soon as my name appeared, Lu Nan's livestream popularity soared. Actually, before the livestream, Lin Tianyu had already met with Lu Nan. Mentioning me this time was also intentional, to expose the fact that I was pretending to be rich. Lu Nan seized the moment and dialed my number, but got an out-of-service message. On the other side, Shuya saw Lu Nan couldn't get through, breathed a sigh of relief. She was really afraid Lu Nan would get me out. After all, I was extremely popular on short 6DO platforms now, especially my memes, currently standing on the shoulders of giants like Kuni Taimi, dubbed by netizens as the eternal pretender. But the next second, Shuya thought of a key point. She started urging Bai Ningbing. Last time Fang Yuan had something come up and left halfway through the livestream. Why not invite him again? Bai Ningbing didn't want to see me mocked by netizens again, but Shuya tempted her. It would also benefit Fang Yuan, as long as he's willing to ride the trend. He can easily make hundreds of thousands from a single ad, much better than delivering food. Bai Ningbing hesitated, finally nodded in agreement. Just then, Lu Nan dialed the number several times, finally got through. I heard an extremely tempting voice, tiredly interrupted him. I don't buy cars, houses, insurance, loans, or investments. Thanks. Then hung up directly. Not to mention Lu Nan was stunned. The netizens in the livestream were also confused, but some quick-thinking netizens said, this Fang Yuan probably thought the host was a spam call again. Lu Nan snapped out of it, dialed my number again, afraid I would hang up again. Quickly explained she was a junior high school classmate and recently started a livestream, a show about meeting junior high school classmates. As soon as I heard it was another meeting livestream, I directly refused. Lu Nan heard the beeping sound from the phone, feeling very uncomfortable. After all, she was always the one hanging up on others, but since she was live streaming, she had to wait until after the stream to figure something out. On the other side, Binjia Studio, Shuya and Bai Ningbing watched Lu Nan's live stream. Both didn't expect me to refuse so bluntly. A bad thought suddenly crossed Bai Ningbing's mind. Could it be that he couldn't handle the online abuse and did something drastic? So his phone was always out of service. Thinking this, she quickly took out her phone and called me. Fang Yuan, it's me, Bai Ningbing. She paused. I'm so about the meeting last time. I caused you to be scolded online. Hearing this, I asked in confusion, what are you talking about? Me being scolded online? Bai Ningbing was stunned. You don't know. I laughed. I thought it was something serious. Didn't I say last time? Most people online are jealous of the rich. No need to care. You're not angry. Bai Ningbing thought I would be very angry, but unexpectedly, I wasn't angry at all. Instead, I comforted her. What's there to be angry about? Their hands are on their own bodies. I can't stop them from commenting however they want. No need to ruin my mood over this. I paused. But about delivering food. I did deliver food before. I also ran into Lin Tianyu on the road last time, but I delivered food purely. I was silent for a moment, then continued. Just think of it as a hobby. Actually, I've done more than just deliver food. I've also worked on construction sites, swept streets, and been a security guard. Delivering food is just a hobby. Bai Ningbing and Shuya exchanged glances. Although the call wasn't on speaker, the office was very quiet. Shuya could still hear me. She leaned close to Bai Ningbing's ear and whispered, forget about that for now. Ask Fang Yuan if he has time in a few days for another meeting. Bai Ningbing hesitated. Earlier, Lu Nan had called to say she wanted to do a live stream meeting, and I had refused several times, citing lack of time. But thinking of the mini version of Lu Tianho, she still couldn't help but ask, classmate Fang, there's something I want to ask you for help. Can you do another live stream meeting with me? Because your last live stream had a great effect. Many netizens want to see you again. Hearing this, I couldn't help but laugh. I think they want to see me make a fool of myself. Bai Ningbing was speechless and quickly apologized. Classmate Fang, I'm sorry, but I didn't care. I told you. I don't care about the online comments. So can you meet me again? Bai Ningbing gathered her courage, because my live stream's popularity has been dropping lately. And I also want to see your two children. You know, the national goddess is my AI do. I just want to see two children who look like her. Her voice got lower and lower, until she didn't know what to say. Okay, but it will have to be in a few days. I thought for a moment and agreed. Bai Ningbing got excited. No problem. A few days is fine. After hanging up, she excitedly looked at Shuya. Shuya was both amused and exasperated. Why did it feel like her best friend was meeting some big shot? But it seemed Fang Yuan's popularity now was indeed no less than some big stars. Bai Ningbing smiled foolishly. She didn't know why. Maybe because she dragged Fang Yuan into being criticized by netizens last time, or maybe for other reasons. But can someone really not care about online bullying? She asked Shuya in confusion. Shuya thought for a moment. It's possible. After all, Fang Yuan was a delivery guy. Delivery guys face harsher realities than online. Bai Ningbing suddenly lowered her head. I think he might not have a stable job now, having done so many different jobs at the same time. After Lu Nan finished her live stream, she went to a hotel with Lin Tianyu. Lin Tianyu tightly held Lu Nan's slender waist. Then a trending topic about him popped up on Lu Nan's phone. She got excited, but after reading the content, she angrily pushed Lin Tianyu away. It turned out Bai Ningbing had posted on live that I agreed to meet, and it spread quickly, but in Lu Nan's view, I only agreed because Bai Ningbing was pretty, so she thought my impression of her was still stuck in high school. Suddenly, an idea flashed through Lu Nan's mind. Her red lips slowly curled into an arc. Finally, the day of Bai Ningbing's meeting arrived. As soon as the live stream started, countless netizens flooded in. If not for classmate Fang, pretending would be eternal darkness. I wonder if he'll rent a luxury car to pick up the host this time. The live stream was constantly being spammed. Bai Ningbing saw netizens still saying I was pretending to be rich, so she explained what I had said a few days ago. But netizens didn't believe it. Unable to clear up the misunderstanding for now, Bai Ningbing quickly changed the subject. Today isn't an ordinary meeting. The main focus is actually classmate Fang's children. But new netizens didn't care, thinking a pretender's kids weren't worth seeing. Then, the superiority of the loyal fans came out. They immediately said my children looked like the national goddess, and posted the screenshots they had taken before. The entire live stream erupted, pretending. Awesome. This is clearly trying to trick me into having kids. After Bai Ningbing arrived at the agreed place, suddenly a surprised voice came. She instinctively turned around and saw Lu Nan. Lu Nan smiled seductively. What a coincidence. I was planning to visit our junior high school. Didn't expect to run into you here. Are you live streaming? Bai Ningbing nodded, a hint of confusion in her eyes. Lu Nan, acting familiar, waved at the live stream. Seeing this, viewers in the live stream started commenting. What a coincidence. Even if the town is small, two people not working in town, it's not easy to run into each other, right? Maybe Lu Nan knew the streamer was meeting Zhuangdi and came on purpose? Don't say that. Zhuangdi isn't some hot commodity. No need for beauties to flock to him. But soon, many of Lu Nan's fans flooded the live stream. Ridiculous. Is that Fong Yuan more popular than our Nan Nan? Our Nan Nan's popularity is already high. Why would she need to leech off by Ningbing's fame? I think it's the other way around. For a moment, the live stream was full of tension. Just then, I appeared, riding an electric scooter. The live stream instantly erupted. After all, my entrance this time was unexpected for everyone. Lu Nan covered her mouth, snickering, her eyes full of disdain. Plain looking, poor, and pathetic. How could someone lie this even get married? I wonder which woman is so blind. Bai Ningbing snapped out of it, immediately stepped forward to greet me. Seeing this, Lu Nan spoke up first. Fong, I heard from Lin Bing that you drive a luxury car worth millions. Where's your luxury car? Bai Ningbing frowned, not to mention if it's appropriate for Lu Nan to ask. But who's the actual streamer here? Hearing Lu Nan's words, I looked at Bai Ningbing in confusion. Bai Weiwan, is this your friend? Just as Bai Ningbing was about to introduce her, Lu Nan interrupted. Fong, you have a terrible memory. We were classmates in middle and high school. I even called you a few days ago to meet up. You turned me down then. I thought about it and remembered. You're the one who called me several times the other day. What's your name again? Lu Nan's face stiffened, but she still forced a sweet smile. Lu Nan. I nodded calmly. I really couldn't recall. I happen to have our old graduation photo here. Bai Ningbing took a photo from her bag. I took the graduation photo and looked at it. I was a bit shocked, staring at Lu Nan. She looks completely different. Then I shook my head and returned the photo to Bai Ningbing. For a moment, many netizens started commenting, clearly suspecting Lu Nan's face was altered. Lu Nan also noticed the comments in the live stream, immediately changed the subject. Fong, by the way, where's your $1,000,000 luxury car? Don't tell me you're planning to pick up Ming Bing on that scooter. After saying that, Lu Nan covered her mouth and chuckled. She just wanted to see how this loser would answer. But I didn't care and shook my head, because Bai Weiwan and I are going to the kindergarten. Driving is inconvenient. The roads are narrow. Driving that car would attract too much attention. It's better to take the scooter. Easy to park, no traffic jams. Many netizens in the live stream burst out laughing at my explanation. As expected of Zhuangdi, this explanation is flawless. He's not unwilling to drive. He wants to keep a low profile, regardless of whether Zhuangdi has a luxury car. Driving a four-wheeled car to pick up kids from school is the worst. It always blocks the intersection completely. Who doesn't have a car these days? As for what I said, Lu Nan didn't believe a word. In her eyes, I was just pretending. If I really had a luxury car, I'd probably drive it to the school gate every day to show off. But I didn't care about Lu Nan's sarcasm. Instead, I looked at Bai Ningbing. It's about time. Bai Weiwan, you don't mind the scooter, do you? I don't mind. Although she was a bit surprised that I came on a scooter, Bai Ningbing really didn't mind. Lu Nan was extremely annoyed inside, but still forced a smile on her face. Can I come along too? I'm also curious what Fong's child looks like. I'm really so I only have 2 helmets. Plus, the scooter's back seat is only for 1 adult. After saying that, I called for Bai Ningbing to get on. As for Lu Nan, if she wants to follow, she can figure it out herself. Lu Nan watched the scooter drive away and dropped the act, her eyes full of disdain. All the way, I focused on driving the scooter. Bai Ningbing sat in the back, holding her phone. Fong, you're taking me to see your daughter. Won't your wife be mad if she finds out? Afraid I wouldn't hear. She shouted loudly from the back. No, she won't. She's too busy to come, I replied, looking ahead. Soon, we stopped in front of a kindergarten gate. At that moment, a sturdy middle-aged man smiled and greeted me. Xiaoming's dad, you're here too. Could this be Xiaoming's mom? You've got it wrong. This is my high school classmate. We just happened to run into each other and came together. I quickly explained. Bai Ningbing noticed that as soon as we arrived at the kindergarten, many parents warmly greeted me. Fong. Bai Ningbing asked, I heard those parents call you Xiaoming's dad. Your son's name isn't Fong Xiaoming, is it? I smiled and nodded. Yeah, what's wrong? Bai Ningbing was a bit surprised. Don't you think the name is too simple? Not at all. Names with fewer strokes are easier to write and remember. It's good for kindergarten and elementary school. I chuckled. Then what's your daughter's name? Bai Ningbing was curious. In her view, my daughter's name should also be simple. Is it Xiaohong? Fong Yanyan, taken from the poem Shijiang in Chu Xiai, Changling, passed down to Xiang Yuan Kri. I answered without thinking. Bai Ningbing's eyes lit up. She didn't expect me to give my daughter such a beautiful name. Wait, didn't you just say names should have fewer strokes to be easy to remember? How about that? I thought about this name for a long time. I'm quite satisfied with the name I chose for my daughter. But Bai Ningbing looked at me with a strange expression. At that moment, netizens in the live stream were cracking up. Just then, a voice caught everyone's attention. Lu Nan didn't expect traffic to be so bad on the way to the kindergarten. She finally made it to the kindergarten gate, but was stopped by 2 security guards. She immediately shouted my name loudly. I went over and quietly explained a few words to the security guard. Only then did they let Lu Nan in. I was surrounded by many parents asking questions, mainly because Lu Nan was dressed too lightly. Lu Nan looked down on me from the bottom of her heart, especially after hearing that I've been the one picking up the kids since they started kindergarten. She looked down on me even more. She guessed that my wife had probably run off with someone else. Thinking that, she immediately went to ask the security guard if he'd seen my wife. After learning that I've always been the one dropping off the kids, netizens also started speculating. Never picking up the kids means my wife isn't around. Either something happened and she's no longer alive, or they're divorced. At that moment, on a certain film set, Lu Ruyan finally finished today's shooting. She got into her chauffeured car to head back to the hotel. Suddenly, her phone alerted her that Ningbing had started streaming. Remembering what her husband had told her a few days ago, she opened her phone to watch the live stream. The live stream showed Lu Nan's speculation, along with comments in the chat. Lu Ruyan frowned. Over the years, even though her husband had always supported her career, she knew in her heart that she owed too much to her family, especially her husband and children. It seemed it was time to return to the family. Back at the kindergarten, Lu Nan, seeing that my wife hadn't shown up, directly asked me what my wife did for a living. How could she be so busy that she wouldn't even come to see the kids perform on stage? I glanced at Lu Nan. She's kind of an actress. Lu Nan naturally didn't believe my words. Hearing that my wife was an actress, many netizens directly mocked and ridiculed me. Lu Nan covered her mouth, looking very surprised, but a flash of disdain passed through her eyes. Sure enough, this man really knows how to pretend. First, he rented a luxury car to act rich. Now he's saying his wife is an actress or a celebrity. Why don't you say your wife is the national goddess Lu Ruyan? I didn't expect Fong's wife to be an actress. So, what Mu 6 or TV show has she been in? Lu Nan pressed further. Bai Ningbing actually wanted to stop Lu Nan, but didn't expect her to ask so quickly. Just a small-time actress. I shook my head. Impossible. Lunan sneered inwardly. He won't even say her name. Even if Fong Yuan's wife is really an actress, she's just an extra with a few lines. What else? If I said my wife is Lu Ruyan, would you believe me? I asked back with a smile. Are you kidding me? Lunan suddenly burst out laughing. That was the funniest joke she'd ever heard. If the national goddess Lu Ruyan fell for this loser, she'd run naked around the world. Bai Ningbing sighed inwardly. She knew my habit of pretending had kicked in again. Netizens were also amused by my words. They knew Zhuangdi could pretend, but didn't expect him to be this good at it. Although Zhuangdi's child looks a bit like Lu Ruyan, he doesn't really think his wife is the national goddess, does he? At the same time, the kindergarten's performances finally began. Soon, after the other classes finished their acts, it was finally my two kids' turn to go on stage. I think the parents must be looking forward to the next performance. Next up, let's welcome the kids from Class C to bring us a martial arts performance. Kung Fu Kids, with the host teacher's passionate voice. Over a dozen kids ran up from backstage. These kids were dressed in yellow outfits, with red belts tied around their waists. Parents watched as the kids bowed with their fists, their movements neat and practiced. At some point, they split into pairs and started sparring, exchanging blows, especially the fancy dodges, which drew cheers from many parents. Netizens in the live stream were stunned. I figured the kindergarten teacher must have hired some kung fu master to teach them. This scene quickly pushed Bai Ningbing's live stream to peak popularity. Bai Ningbing turned around and saw behind her a row of parents watching the stage with great interest. You have to say, Xiaoming's dad is amazing. Xiaoming's dad, yeah. These kids' martial arts were all taught by Xiaoming's dad. Suddenly, voices faintly reached Bai Ningbing's ears. To confirm her guess, she leaned close to me and whispered, Fong, I heard from people around that you designed this performance. Just a little bit of kung fu. Nothing special. I shook my head and replied with a smile. Really? You know martial arts? Bai Ningbing was shocked. Netizens in the live stream were also surprised. Soon, the martial arts performance ended. The kids' martial arts show was amazing. It got my blood pumping. Next up, another performance by the kids from Class C. A safety education fairy tale play, Little Rabbit, Be Good. With the host teacher's introduction, scattered applause sounded around. Bai Ningbing looked at the stage, her eyes lighting up. At that moment, 3 kids dressed as cute little bunnies were singing in sweet, childish voices while hopping lightly on stage. And the lead kid was my daughter. Her face, just like the national goddess Lu Ruyan's, made Bai Ningbing's heart melt. She's just too adorable. Bai Ningbing listened to the singing on stage, finding it quite pleasant. What puzzled her was that she'd never heard it before. Just then, at the kindergarten gate, a tall, strong man climbed over the wall. The man was unshaven and disheveled, and he charged straight toward the stage. The security guard spotted a kitchen knife in the man's hand. His face changed, and he shouted as he rushed over. Since the Mio Dike was still playing on stage, the parents didn't hear the security guard's shout, let alone react. However, I suddenly stood up. At that moment, the parents around me finally reacted, and chaos erupted. But Lu Nan's eyes lit up. She aimed her phone at the tall, strong man and streamed. Netizens finally understood what was happening in the suddenly chaotic kindergarten. This caused Lu Nan's own Oaksow's popularity to skyrocket. Bai Ningbing just glanced at Lu Nan, then looked at me with worried eyes. But the physical difference between me and the knife-wielding thug was too great. Up close, I couldn't stop him in time. Cowardly people had already covered their eyes, unable to bear the bloody scene. But just then, I quickly reached into my pocket, and a flash of silver disappeared. The knife-wielding thug, who was about to charge at the kids, seemed to trip over something, and fell flat on his face. At that moment, the thug struggled to his feet, glaring at me with a ferocious face. Just as he was about to slash at me, I sidestepped slightly, dodging his knife. Then I suddenly kicked, not giving him any chance to react. A sweeping kick, and I sent the man flying several meters. Everyone stared blankly at the scene. The security guards and several parents who were about to rush over also paused in their tracks. No one expected me to take down the thug in one move. Bai Ningbing was the first to run over and ask with concern. She still couldn't believe it. My so-called little bit of kung fu was so powerful. But suddenly, Bai Ningbing noticed a calm man. In the live stream, a netizen posted a GIF. The GIF showed me running full speed toward the knife-wielding thug, while my right hand reached into my pocket, then suddenly threw something. Then the thug fell hard. The GIF wasn't smooth, looking more like a series of still images, just images cycling through. Bai Ningbing was stunned, a look of confusion in her eyes. Could it be that the thug wasn't tripped by something, but hit by something I threw? When the image froze on me pulling a coin from my pocket with 2 fingers, the entire live stream was shocked. Wow, how did he do that? So, the thug was knocked down by a coin I threw. As for Fong saying he only knows a little kung fu, I'm now skeptical. Could Fong be some martial arts master hiding in the city? Suddenly, Bai Ningbing was amazed. She was very curious how I did it, and quickly asked, Fong, do you know how to use hidden weapons like in TV shows? I waved my hand. What hidden weapons? I'm just good at throwing things accurately. Just then, a soft voice came. Bai Ningbing instinctively looked, and her eyes went wide. A little girl, about 3 years old, ran over. The girl was sweet and cute, like a fairy who'd jumped out of a cartoon. It was my daughter, Fong Yanyan. Bai Ningbing swallowed, and put on what she thought was a gentle smile, but it gave off a creepy auntie-vibe. Dad, who is this pretty big sister? Yanyan blinked her big, bright eyes, looked at Bai Ningbing, and asked. I smiled and explained that she was my classmate. You should call her Aunt Bai. But Yanyan pouted, as if she didn't agree with her dad's nonsense. She's clearly a beautiful big sister. At that moment, Bai Ningbing's heart was melting. This is clearly a little angel. Since a knife-wielding thug had suddenly appeared at the kindergarten, the performances couldn't continue. With the teacher's apologies, many parents left one by one. Until then, Bai Ningbing knew today's live stream meeting was over. She looked at Yanyan reluctantly, but no matter how reluctant, it was time to part. However, she never expected Lu Nan to say with a full smile, since we're here, why don't we go to Fong's place for a visit? Bai Ningbing immediately understood Lu Nan's intention. If we really went to my home, she could expose my act of pretending to be rich. That wasn't what Bai Ningbing wanted to see. For a moment, netizens were buzzing, waiting for the streamer to expose my true colors, but some netizens disagreed with going, saying they should let me keep my dignity. Bai Ningbing also disagreed with Lu Nan's suggestion. Besides, she had already communicated with me. We were just going to the kindergarten to watch the kids' performances. Moreover, she wanted to let me keep my dignity. However, Lu Nan looked at me with a smile. smile, guessing that I would probably refuse. But when she heard me say the scooter couldn't carry that many people, she almost doubled over laughing. She held back her laughter and said she could take a TAC 11. Then I gave them my home address and took the kids on the scooter. After I drove off, Bingbing also ordered a car on Lai. The driver looked at the address and asked with a smile, "Are you going to Kaohsiung Village?" Bingbing, sitting in the passenger seat, looked puzzled because the address I gave was a security booth at an intersection. Lu Nan in the back seat frowned slightly. She felt Lai she'd heard of Kaohsiung Village somewhere. Driver, is Kaohsiung Village really by a mountain? Bingbing was also curious about the village's name. It used to be by a mountain, but now it's not. The middle-aged driver chuckled. What do you mean? I don't understand. Bingbing was confused. What do you mean, used to be but now it's not? Have you heard of Wusong Scenic Area? The driver asked with a smile. Wusong Scenic Area? At that moment, Lu Nan's face was full of SOC. No wonder she thought Kaohsiung Village sounded so familiar. She'd heard of Kaohsiung Village because of the development of Wusong Scenic Area. Most importantly, the real estate developer not only built a villa for every family in Kaohsiung Village, but also gave them huge compensation. The highest was several hundred million. Lu Nan suddenly remembered what I had said earlier. There's no way it could be such a coincidence. She had always thought I was making it up. Lu Nan, what's wrong? Bingbing turned around and looked at Lu Nan in confusion. The driver briefly explained to Bingbing. Only then did Bingbing understand why Lu Nan was so surprised. And netizens, hearing the driver's words, were shocked. They started discussing among themselves. When they arrived, Bingbing and Lu Nan saw me not far away, parked on my scooter. And rows of villas were right in front of them. This isn't a village, it's a villa district. The netizens who had mocked me for being poor and pretending were now collectively proven wrong. Instead, Bingbing looked at Lu Nan with a smile. Lu Nan snorted inwardly. She still didn't believe it. In her view, I must have prepared in advance, renting a villa in Kaohsiung Village. After all, the villagers of Kaohsiung Village all got huge compensation, so they'd naturally move to big cities. Who would lie in this place with no education and no medical care? So there must be plenty of empty villas. And those empty villas are rented out for parties and gatherings. But after entering the village, an old man with a cane slowly walked over, smiling and greeting me. Yen stood on the scooter and politely greeted the old man. "Hello, fourth grandpa." The old man grinned and pulled out a few candies from his pocket. Then I ran into a few more acquaintances and greeted them. Bingbing also nodded and smiled. The live stream was instantly filled with comments like, "Take that, haters." The way they address each other shows they're related. Soon, I led them to a large house. Arriving at the courtyard gate, Bingbing and Lu Nan were momentarily stunned. Suddenly, the gate opened. Once inside the courtyard, they saw a luxury car parked there. Bingbing recognized it as the car I drove when we first met. The live stream exploded. Wow, we were the clowns all along. If anyone says Fong is a delivery driver, I'll kick them. Can a delivery driver afford a car like that? Is it possible that Fong delivers food just to pass the time in his boring life? After entering the courtyard, Bingbing found it was very spacious. But just then, a strange sound came. It sounded like a pig's grunt. Then, a large, fat pig with black patterns on its back charged straight at them. Bingbing and Lu Nan were frozen. By the time they reacted, the black pig was already upon them. Just then, Yen's soft, sweet voice rang out. The next scene left everyone stunned. The black pig rushed up to Yen, then stopped. It was Lai welcoming Yen home. I smiled and explained, "This is Yen's pet." Then Yen climbed onto the pig's back. Bingbing was dumbfounded. She looked at me, wanting to see my reaction as a father, but I was already used to it. Yen often rides the pig around the village. Just then, a beautiful, dignified woman walked out of the house. She was surprised to see Bingbing and Lu Nan. After learning they were my high school classmates, she warmly invited them inside. The house wasn't as luxurious as netizens imagined, but its well-arranged style gave a strangely comfortable feeling. Just then, my phone rang. I excused myself, asking my mom to show them around, but Lu Nan suddenly got close to my mom, sweet-talking her, praising her for looking young. "You look so young." Bingbing was puzzled by Lu Nan's sudden change. She didn't know Lu Nan was scheming to pry. My mom didn't think much of it. She just went along with the conversation. She talked about how we didn't live here before, how I did farm work as a kid, carrying bamboo baskets, cutting pig grass, feeding pigs and cows. Lu Nan pretended to be surprised. "I heard every family here got a lot of compensation." My mom smiled and said we were lucky. A flash of jealousy crossed Lu Nan's eyes. This wasn't just luck. It was a fortune falling from the sky. A bunch of country bumpkins hiding in the mountains, suddenly getting wealth others would need lifetimes to earn. What she couldn't understand was, what did the developer see in Lusong Mountain? Netizens in the live stream started digging up old news. I just checked. The developer of the Wusong Scenic Area is a company with only 10 million in registered capital, and they only developed Wusong. This made netizens suspicious. It felt like the company was set up just for that. Bingbing looked at the comments, a bit amused and exasperated, but she didn't expect that what I said during our first meeting was all true. Thinking back to how she wanted me to join her studio, she felt like a fool. Meanwhile, Lu Nan had lost her earlier snobbish attitude, but who knew if she was plotting something bad? The problem was, I was married with a child. When the topic turned to my wife, Lu Nan finally found a subject. Curiously, she asked, and my mom sighed. "My daughter-in-law only comes home every few days." That's fine abroad, but in Dragon Country, a daughter-in-law who doesn't stay home is hard for any mother-in-law to accept. But the next second, my mom said she supported my wife's work. Hearing this, the live stream was full of envy. Now that's a real mom. A mother-in-law who treats her daughter-in-law like her own is rare. Bingbing saw the comments and remembered I'd said my wife was a small-time actress, but a small actress wouldn't be away every few days, would she? In her mind, only top stars followed crews around. Lu Nan pretended to stand up for my mom, bad-mouthing my wife. My mom paused, then chuckled. She probably didn't expect her daughter-in-law to be seen as a small actress. Seeing my mom's reaction, Lu Nan was confused. Maybe she wasn't just an extra? She sensed a she-to-re here, so she directly asked for my wife's name and work. But my mom suddenly hesitated. Luckily, Bingbing quickly changed the subject, but Lu Nan, chasing views, wouldn't give up easily. Netizens, seeing my mom seemed reluctant, started guessing. His wife might be a 4th or 5th tier star. After all, he's just a guy who got rich from demolition. Soon, the live stream comments turned one-sided. I just don't get it. Why would Fong marry marry a 4th or 5th tier star. The entertainment industry is a mess. I'm an insider, I know. There aren't many clean ones. Netizens couldn't understand me marrying a small star. But suddenly, a calm man caught everyone's eye. Doesn't Fong's daughter look like the national goddess Lu Ruyan? Based on all the info, isn't it possible that Fong's wife is Lu Ruyan? Seeing this, many netizens burst out laughing. They didn't believe the national goddess would marry a nouveau riche Limy. At the same time, Lu Ruyan, just back at her hotel, saw the comments. Her fair face darkened. Because that comment about Fong's wife being Lu Ruyan was posted by herself. She didn't expect netizens to mock it. She wanted to just announce it. But thinking of the negative press and pressure it would bring her husband, she could only fume silently. Yet, Lu Ruyan's eyes were full of happiness. The best decision she ever made was undoubtedly marrying him. Netizens in the live stream kept guessing who my wife was. Even the recently popular star Li Yaya was dragged in. When Bai Ningbing noticed these guesses, she frowned. If she was Lu Ruyan's biggest fan, then she was also Li Yaya's biggest hater. The reason was that when Li Yaya debuted, she always called herself Little Lu Ruyan everywhere. But after Li Yaya became famous last year, if others called her that, she got upset. In Bai Ningbing's view, that wasn't a big deal. But what angered her most was that Li Yaya dared to say her acting was better than Lu Ruyan's and belittled her in many settings. What Bai Ningbing couldn't stand even more was that Li Yaya's private life was a mess. She was caught by paparazzi late at night, discussing scripts with some director, playing mahjong with young actors, and going to hotels with rich second-generation guys. Every time she was caught, Li Yaya denied it, and even hinted that the person in the photos wasn't her, but the national goddess Lu Ruyan. This was too much for Bai Ningbing. Soon after, an announcement appeared on Li Yaya's official Otsao. It stated she was unmarried, didn't know me, and had no child. She would take legal action against rumormongers. As for the rising star Li Yaya's words, many netizens didn't believe her. Li Yaya had a terrible online reputation. Lu Nan also noticed the netizens' guesses. If Li Yaya really was my wife, then I'd definitely be wearing a green hat. And soon enough, Li Yaya would divorce me. You know, with Li Yaya's current status and fame, I'm not worthy of her. Just then, I came in from outside after finishing a call. I smiled at Lu Nan. Classmate Lu, are you really that curious about what my wife acts in? Lu Nan forced out what she thought was an innocent smile, and said in a pitiful voice, just curious. My tone remained calm, but Bai Ningbing could still hear a hint of coldness. Still, Bai Ningbing wasn't surprised. Although she hadn't known me long, she knew I was an easygoing person. But even an easygoing person has a temper. Lu Nan was a bit stunned too. I greeted them both. I have to go to the scenic area. Something came up. My mom was worried when she heard I was going into the area. I shook my head and reassured her it wasn't a big deal. Then I told Bai Ningbing and Lu Nan to stay at my place. Bai Ningbing was curious, but she knew some things weren't for an outsider to ask. But Lu Nan wasn't het pie. She'd been streaming for so long, and this was the first time she had such high traffic. She wasn't about to give up the views. Even knowing I had business, she insisted on coming. Whether it was low EQ or just chasing views, she had no shame. Seeing my expression turn sour, Lu Nan even dragged Bai Ningbing in his cover. In her mind, Bai Ningbing was just lie her, and would follow me to the Wusong scenic area for the hype. But to Lu Nan's surprise, Bai Ningbing refused without hesitation. Lu Nan's smile froze. She didn't expect Bai Ningbing to embarrass her like that. She silently complained. I didn't bother with Lu Nan anymore. I hopped on my electric scooter and left. After I left, Bai Ningbing looked at the cute and well-behaved Yan Yan, wanting to hug her. Seeing Yan Yan sitting on the sofa reading a book, she smiled, finally finding something to talk about. But when she got closer, Yan Yan was reading a book about human nature. Not just Bai Ningbing. Even netizens didn't believe it. A 3-year-old reading an adult book? But Bai Ningbing didn't call her out. After all, kids have pride too. But Lu Nan had no such qualms. She put on a sweet smile and coaxed Yan Yan. If you read this book, Auntie will give you a reward, she thought. Kids' rewards were just toys or snacks, something cheap to handle. But Yan Yan wanted a pair of glasses that could travel through worlds. Lu Nan was momentarily confused until she saw netizens call men. That's this year's hottest VR glasses. Then she understood. Wearing those glasses, you could experience different scenes, like traveling through time. Lu Nan thought, these come in different prices. I'll just buy a cheap one to fob her off. But Bai Ningbing interrupted, kindly reminding her, check the price first. Lu Nan checked and was stunned. That immersive Longting glasses, even secondhand, cost tens of thousands. But then my mom said Lu Nan didn't need to spend money because when Yan Yan got out of school, I had already put one in her room. Yan Yan heard that, jumped on the black pig, and rushed to her room. Netizens were amazed. So the pig had this use too. When Yan Yan came back with a beautiful box, sharp-eyed netizens saw the Max engraved on it. The live stream exploded. Many netizens flooded Longting Group's official Otsao. When is the Max version coming out? The customer service girl was baffled. To calm the netizens' anger, they patiently explained the Max version was never sold publicly, but netizens didn't believe them. The proof is right there in the live stream. Soon, the Longtang Max glasses trended. It even alerted Longtang Group's top management. A secretary hurriedly handed a tablet to a middle-aged man, telling him about Bai Ningbing's live stream. Surprise flickered in the man's eyes. Since the Max version was previewed at the start of the year, there had been knockoffs. But this one was genuine. When he saw Longting's official Otsao had already issued a statement, his expression changed. Jumping to conclusions without knowing the facts was a big business mistake. As a Longtang executive, he knew some inside info. This version of the glasses, though not publicly sold, had actually been produced. Sales were stopped for certain reasons. He immediately told the secretary to issue a retraction. As soon as Longting's new announcement came out, netizens reposted it. Lu Nan saw it and gleefully held up her phone to Yan Yan. See, the one you're holding is fake. But Yan Yan's next words stunned everyone. The manufacturer naturally knows if a product is real or fake, but not everyone knows. This was completely out of character for a 3-year-old. Bai Ningbing looked at Yan Yan in amazement. Is she really just over 3? But soon, the live stream was flooded with Longting's new announcement. Bai Ningbing clicked over and saw, and was stunned. The announcement said, the previous Otsama Najio posted incorrect information privately. He has been fired. After Longting's move, it only made people more suspicious. Lu Nan was taken aback. She saw the earlier pot was deleted, and her face darkened. Because of the contradictory announcements, many tech enthusiasts flooded the live stream. They believed Longting's glasses were full of black tech, and one tech would tell if they were real. But Bai Ningbing was hesitant. If they were real, fine. If fake, she feared Yan Yan would be disappointed in her father. Seeing the high traffic, Lu Nan wouldn't miss this chance. She started coaxing Yan Yan. You say these Longting 5th gen glasses are real? Then let Auntie try them. I won't let you try. Only the big sister can. Yan Yan lifted her chin, looking proud, and urged, Bai Ningbing, try them now. I want everyone to be convinced. Bai Ningbing looked at Yan Yan's serious little face, and her heart melted. As they say, joy shared is joy doubled. She immediately pointed the camera at Yan Yan's serious expression, which charmed all the tough guys. When Bai Ningbing put on the glasses, everything went dark. The next moment, she was completely shocked. The spacious living room and everyone around vanished. Now, she was in a dazzling virtual world. A fluffy bee by panda rolled up to her. Bai Ningbing couldn't help reaching out to touch it. A soft sensation stunned her. It felt just like petting a cat. Bai Ningbing exclaimed, this is so real. But in reality, netizens only saw Bai Ningbing talking to herself, waving at the air. Then they started arguing about whether the glasses were real. When Bai Ningbing took off the glasses, she said seriously and firmly, the Longting Max glasses in my hand are real. After hearing Bai Ningbing describe the experience, netizens remembered Longting's press conference, where they said the AI assistant was a panda, but Lu Nan still didn't believe it. In her view, Bai Ningbing was just acting. Soon, Lu Nan pretended to be surprised and suggested she try them too. Many netizens agreed. After all, they couldn't just take Bai Ningbing's word for it. Under everyone's watch, Lu Nan put on the Longting Max glasses. In no time, netizens saw her movements were identical to Bai Ningbing's. Bai Ningbing now regretted sharing her real experience, because these Longting Max glasses weren't on the market yet, so she suspected I got them through shady means. This would surely get me into legal trouble. Now she hoped Lu Nan would hide the truth. But after Lu Nan took off the glasses, she didn't disappoint Bai Ningbing. She pretended to be surprised and lied, saying there was some sensation, but it was far from reality. But then Lu Nan saw her live stream traffic and changed her tune, admitting they were the latest Longting glasses. Instantly, netizens bombarded Longting's official Otsao, but Longting Group still didn't respond. Customer service only said they didn't know. This made everyone extremely curious about where I got them. Ill-intentioned people even hinted I bribed someone. At that moment, only Yan Yan was happy because she felt she had stood up for her dad. Bai Ningbing sighed inwardly. She didn't know how to explain anymore. If I bought them legally, then it was fine. But the problem was, these weren't on the market yet. However, Lu Nan, for the sake of traffic, looked eager and started trying to get info from my mom. When everyone heard I didn't buy them, but got them as a gift, they found it even harder to believe. That's just an excuse to cover the truth. You know, this Longting Max, which sells out instantly, costs a down payment on a house. With scalpers, it easily doubles in price. Bai Ningbing wanted to stop Lu Nan from pressing further, but my mom had already said, my son's friend didn't just give him one. Just as netizens were sure I was in cahoots with an insider. Lu Nan pressed on. She thought if she could dig up my friend's name, she could latch on to Longting. But soon, netizens, with their collective power, managed to uncover my friend's identity from just a name. They were shocked by what they found. My friend was the president of Longting Group. Bai Ningbing also realized, if that was true, then the Longting president giving his friend an unreleased product was no big deal. Lu Nan, who had been smug, was now completely dumbfounded. The Longting president was worth tens of billions. Someone like me, who got rich from demolition, couldn't possibly be connected to him. Then a light bulb went off in her head. She quickly searched for the president's photo and showed it to my mom. She got a positive confirmation. After Lu Nan's repeated veiled doubts, my mom also got annoyed. She pulled out a photo from a few years ago, pointed at the guy with bleached hair, and said, this is the Longting president. Lu Nan couldn't argue anymore, because the guy in the photo really did look like the current Longting president. Netizens also marveled. The low-key president used to be a young punk, and from the photo, I had known him before he made it big. Everyone agreed I was incredibly lucky, having latched onto a big shot. It was Lai Yu, being buddies with Jack Ma. Back when he was a teacher, Zhang Xuebing, as Longting's founder, was undoubtedly a legendary figure. He started from nothing, from a nobody to a globally known tech tycoon. With the exposure of Longting president Zhang Xuebing, Bai Ningbing's live stream hit an unprecedented high. At that moment, at Longting Group, General Manager Lu Huaqiang watched the whole live stream and secretly felt relieved that he hadn't denied the authenticity of Yan Yan's glasses earlier. Just then, a netizen thought of an incredible possibility. He thought that my knowing Zhang Xuebing might be because I invested in Longting back in the day. This comment flashed before Lu Nan's eyes and caught her attention. She immediately asked my mom, but when my mom denied it, she pretended to be sympathetic but was secretly gloating. However, my mom said, now, with hundreds of millions in demolition money, ordinary people can't even dream of it. This left Lu Nan speechless. But surprisingly, a glint of gold flashed in Lu Nan's eyes because she remembered a report saying Zhang Xuebing was still unmarried. Then she leaned close to my mom, pretending to ask about the Max Glasses release date for fans, but was actually asking for Zhang Xuebing's contact info. Although most netizens watch without thinking, some smart ones saw through it. They mocked Lu Nan, a small-time streamer, for asking for a tech tycoon's number. It's obvious what her intentions are, but the tech enthusiasts who had flooded and didn't care about that. They only wanted to know if they could buy the glasses from me. They couldn't get an answer here. Then Longting's official Otsao announced, Longting Max glasses are now on Zio. Not just the live stream, but the entire internet exploded. Many netizens called it a hunger marketing tactic, treating them like cash cows. They urged everyone to boycott and not buy. But these boycott leaders immediately snapped up all the Prezio slots on various platforms and even posted their payment receipts. As Longting's Prezio hype grew, clueless tech enthusiasts flocked to Bai Ningbing and Lu Nan's live streams, pushing viewer numbers to new highs. But Bai Ningbing wasn't as excited as Lu Nan. After all, for her, the whole point was to see the mini national goddess. Meanwhile, Lu Ruyan, still filming, watched the live stream with interest. She wasn't surprised that I knew Zhang Xuebing from Longting, because she knew Zhang Xuebing and I were sworn brothers, but Bai Ningbing didn't know that. Instead, she became even more curious about me. Soon after, she learned from my mom that my hobby was actually delivering food. He does nothing at home. Lie an unemployed bum. Lu Nan overheard this and thought I was useless. But netizens this time used their brains and directly countered. Is Lu Nan crazy? Bong already has hundreds of millions. Why is she still hung up on him having a job? Is she just trying to feel superior? But then my daughter lifted her chin, looking very proud. My dad is a manga artist. Lu Nan paused, almost laughing out loud. But then she thought, after all the twists and turns, she was a bit suspicious. Could he really be a manga artist? But the next second, second, Yan Yan had already climbed onto the black pig's back and dashed into her room. She came out with a few paper airplanes. Bai Ningbing looked at the paper airplanes Yan Yan handed her and didn't know what to say. To say this is a comic draft. There's no way it's used for kids to fold paper airplanes. But under Yan Yan's urging, Bai Ningbing opened the paper airplanes one by one. What met her eyes were clear black and white drawings. Although she doesn't know much about comics, the characters' expressions, actions, and dialogue were all vivid, proving this is indeed a comic manuscript. Netizens eagerly urged Bai Ningbing to show it. But the first thing netizens saw felt the character outlines in the draft were very familiar. Although the draft was crumpled after being folded into paper airplanes, comic-loving netizens still saw the character looked Lai Zhongchulan. But with just one character, it wasn't enough to say this was a manuscript of moonlit birdwatching. But if Bai Ningbing hadn't flipped through it, this flip made the whole live stream explode. Netizens begged one after another for my home address, saying they'd send local specialties. Bai Ningbing looked at the crumpled comic manuscript in her hands, completely stunned. The live stream room had completely erupted. The barrage was scrolling so fast it was unreadable, but she still caught some keywords. Moonlit birdwatching, Zhongchulan, pride of Chinese comics, a manuscript worth millions? No way. Lu Nan leaned in, eyes wide. You're saying this is a manuscript of moonlit birdwatching? That one with over 10 billion clicks online, serialized for 3 years without a break, and hailed as the god-tier work of Chinese comics. Her voice trembled as she spoke. Moonlit birdwatching was incredibly popular in Dragon Country. How popular? On the subway, 10 people scrolling on phones. At least 3 are reading this comic. Anime clubs at major universities feature its characters in cosplay events every year. Even those literary youths who usually look down on anime give a thumbs up when mentioning this work, because its plot depth and artistic value have surpassed the scope of ordinary comics. And the author of this comic, Abyss, is extremely mysterious. Never gives interviews, never attends events. Even the publisher has only met his agent. Online speculation about his identity never stops. Some say he's a hermit living in the mountains. Some say he's a genius with a terminal illness. Others say he's a respected old artist. But no one ever thought he'd be a delivery driver. And no one thought his comic manuscripts would be folded into paper airplanes by his 3-year-old daughter. Bai Ningbing carefully flipped through the papers in her hands. Although crumpled, the lines were still clear. She wasn't a comic fan, but she'd watched a few episodes of the animated version of Moonlit Birdwatching and had some impression of the characters. These drafts before her, whether in character expressions or action fluidity, were all perfect. Yan Yan. Bai Ningbing swallowed, trying to make her voice sound gentler. Did Daddy draw all these paper airplanes? Yan Yan, riding on the black pig's back, proudly lifted her little face. Yeah, Daddy drew a whole lot. I used them all to fold planes. Look at this 1 inch. She pointed at one in Bai Ningbing's hand. This is the best one I folded. It flies really far. Bai Ningbing looked down, almost choked. The character on this draft was Feng Baobao, the most popular female lead in moonlit birdwatching. That cold gaze, that flowing hair, that iconic machete, vividly sketched with just a few strokes. And this artwork, worthy of being a masterpiece, was now folded into a crooked paper airplane with a clear crease on the wing. The comic fans in the live stream had gone crazy. I'm begging you, send me that paper airplane. I'll pay 10,000. 10,000? Who are you insulting? I'll pay 100,000. Can you guys have some ambition? That's a manuscript. A manuscript from the Great Abyss. At an auction, it'd be worth at least 500,000. 500,000? Do you know the market? Last year, a signed print by the Great Abyss sold for 1.2 million. This is a manuscript. A unique manuscript. I'm having a heart attack. Someone tell me this isn't real. Mom's asking why I'm kneeling watching the sheet trim. Great Feng Yuan, please accept my knees. Bai Ningbing looked at these barges, then at Yan Yan, laughing innocently on the black pig's back. Suddenly felt the world was a bit surreal. She remembered when she first arranged to meet Feng Yuan. The netizens' mockery. What's there to see in a delivery driver? These fringe people won't amount to anything even after graduation. She remembered the second time she arranged to meet him. The overwhelming doubts and ridicule. A poser, a lowlife, renting a luxury car to catch a goddess's attention. And now, those who mocked him were begging for the paper airplanes in his daughter's hands. Lu Nan's face was a picture of SOC. She stood there, mouth twitching, wanting to say something but unable. Just now, she was secretly mocking me for being uneducated, and in a flash, I became a legend in the Chinese comics world. This face slap came too fast. Lie a tornado. Lu Nan forced a smile uglier than crying, leaned into Yan Yan. Yan Yan, sweetie, can you give Auntie a few of these paper airplanes? Auntie can buy you lots and lots of toys. Yan Yan tilted her little head, looked at her, then shook her head. No, big sister said, you can't just take things from others. Lu Nan's smile froze. Bai Ningbing couldn't help but laugh. She remembered Lu Nan trying to lure Yan Yan with toys earlier, and Yan Yan wanted that VR headset, almost costing Lu Nan tens of thousands. Now Yan Yan was using her own words against her. It was a stroke of genius. Netizens were cracking up. Lu Nan's face slap hurts just watching it. Even a 3-year-old knows not to take things casually, and Lu Nan, an adult, has the nerve to ask, is this what they call a social death scene? Lu Nan, I hate that I said that back then. Just then, footsteps came from the door. I pushed the door open, saw the scene in the living room, paused. What's up? Why is everyone standing? Bai Ningbing opened her mouth, at a loss for words. Yan Yan slid off the black pig's back, ran over to me, lifted her little face, eyes full of anticipation. Daddy, Daddy, big sister said my paper airplanes look great. Can you give big sister some more? I looked down at my daughter, then at the crumpled drafts in Bai Ningbing's hands. Suddenly understood. You showed these to people? I crouched down, pinched Yan Yan's cheek. Yan Yan nodded innocently. Big sister wanted to see them. I stood up, amused, and looked at Bai Ningbing. Those are just drafts. I was going to throw them away. Yan Yan likes folding paper airplanes, so I let her play with them. Sorry for the embarrassment. Drafts. Bai Ningbing's eyes widened. You're saying these are drafts? Yeah. I walked over, took the Feng Baobao draft from her hand, looked at it. The lines are a bit messy. The composition isn't complete. It really is just a draft. Bai Ningbing and the live stream netizens fell silent. Listen to that. Is that human talk? Lines a bit messy. Composition not complete. Great Abyss. Do you have a different definition of draft? My finished work isn't as good as his draft. Should I just chop off my hands? Is this the world of the masters? A casual sketch is a work of art, and the rest goes to his daughter for paper airplanes. Lu Nan stood aside, her expression beyond words. She suddenly remembered just now, in front of everyone, she'd called me a poser, a lowlife, a failure. Now looking back at her own words, it was Lai slapping her own face. And it hurt. Fong Biningbing took a deep breath, trying to keep her voice steady. Can I ask, are you really Abyss, the author of Moonlit Bird Watching? I looked at her and nodded. Det, though she was mentally prepared. Hearing the affirmative answer, Biningbing still gasped. The live stream exploded. Wow, it's really him. The Great Abyss looks like this? I thought he'd be a middle-aged greasy uncle. What do you mean? Fong Yuan's looks are ordinary, but not greasy. The point isn't his looks. The point is he's Abyss. The one who created the #1 Chinese comic masterpiece. The author I've followed for 3 years. Turns out to be my classmate's classmate. This world is too small. Biningbing, what luck. Just casually meeting a classmate, and you find a Chinese comic god. Don't forget. Just now, someone called him a fringe person. A failure. Those people's faces must be swollen now. Biningbing looked at these barrages, feeling mixed emotions. She remembered when she first arranged to meet Fong Yuan. She'd had a moment of hesitation herself. Is a delivery driver really worth meeting? Though she stuck to her choice in the end. That hesitation had been real. She suddenly felt grateful. Grateful she hadn't been Lai Lunan, judging people with prejudice. Fong, she looked at me, with newfound respect in her eyes. Can I ask, why haven't you ever revealed your identity? I smiled, walked over, and sat on the sofa, pulling Yen Yen onto my lap. Why should I reveal it? I'm just a comic artist, not some big star. Drawing is my hobby, and my job. That's all. Whether people know who I am, doesn't make a difference to me. But... Biningbing hesitated. What about all those online doubts and mockery? I shook my head. I told you, I don't care. Their mouths are on their faces. I can't control what they say. I just need to do my own thing, and take care of my family. That's enough. Biningbing fell silent. She suddenly realized the man before her was far stronger than she'd imagined. Not in well, but in inner strength, facing mockery and doubt from the whole internet. He remained calm and composed, neither arguing nor explaining, just quietly doing his own thing. That mindset, she knew she couldn't met it. Lunan stood aside, her face pale and flushed. She opened her mouth, wanting to say something to salvage the situation, but found she couldn't say anything. Her actions just now had been seen clearly by the whole internet. Those doubts, mockeries, and digs had now become boomerangs, striking her hard. What hurt more was, she thought she'd latched onto Lin Tianyu's coattails, but Lin Tianyu was a joke in front of me. What real estate president? What company going public? Nothing in front of a Chinese comic god. And what made her more jealous was, Biningbing had done nothing, just stuck to her choice, and won my favor, while she, scheming endlessly, ended up mocked by the whole internet. Just then, my phone rang. I glanced at the caller ID, raised an eyebrow and answered. Hey, old Zhang, what's up? A man's voice came from the other end, a bit excited. Fong Yuan, have you seen the trending topics? Your identity is out. The whole internet is talking about you. I responded calmly, and his voice went up an octave. Do you know how many people want to interview you now? The publisher's phone is ringing off the hook, and several film companies want to discuss the adaptation rights for Moonlit Bird Watching. You're hot stuff now, you know? I still kept the same calm tone. There was a 2-second silence on the other end, then a burst of laughter. Fong Yuan, you're always like this. Fine, since you know, I won't say more, but be prepared. You won't have peace for the next few days. I hung up. Looked up to find Biningbing and Lunan staring at me. That call, Biningbing asked cautiously. Was it Zhang Xuebin, the 11IO of Longting Group? I nodded. Biningbing took a deep breath, feeling her heart couldn't take much more. The 11IO of Longting Group, a tech mogul worth billions, a legend in the eyes of countless entrepreneurs. The man I casually called Old Zhang, and dismissed with I know, it was him. And from the tone, their relationship was clearly more than just ordinary friends. The netizens in the live stream had no words left to describe their feelings. I'm blown away. Chinese comic god, tech mogul's close friend, demolition beneficiary, billionaire Fong Yuan. This persona, I call it life winner. And he has 2 adorable kids, and a beautiful wife, though she hasn't shown up yet. How is this a fringe person? This is the peak of life. Oku, I just want to ask one thing now. Fong Yuan, do you need a friend? The kind who shouts 666? I admit I was too loud earlier. Great Fong Yuan, I'm so just then. The living room light flickered. Then a rumbling sound came from outside. Lie something approaching. Yin Yin jumped off my lap, ran to the window to look out, then shouted excitedly. Mommy's back. Biningbing was startled, subconsciously looked out the window. In the sky, a helicopter was slowly landing in my yard. The airflow from the rotors blew the plants in the yard sideways. The black pig seemed used to this scene, lazily lying in the corner, without even lifting an eyelid. The helicopter door opened. A woman in a white dress stepped out. She took off her goggles, revealing a stunningly beautiful face. The moment Biningbing saw that face, she froze as if struck by lightning. It was a face she knew all too well. National goddess Lu Ruyan. The live stream fell dead silent. After a full 5 seconds, the barrage erupted like a volcano. That's Lu Ruyan. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. I must be dreaming. Mom's asking why I'm kneeling watching the she-trim. I said I saw a goddess. National goddess descending from the sky. What kind of AI do DRMA is this? Wait, did Yen Yen just call her mommy? So Fong Yuan's wife really is Lu Ruyan? I'm dumbfounded. I really am. Someone said earlier Fong Yuan's wife was Lu Ruyan, and I laughed at them for being delusional. Now I just want to say, Master, I'm so I was blind. Biningbing stood there, completely petrified. How many years had she loved Lu Ruyan? Since high school. Lu Ruyan had been her AI do. She'd collected all of Lu Ruyan's posters, all her albums, all the movies and TV shows she'd acted in. She'd even gone to Lu Ruyan's autograph session just to see her. Waited in line for 6 whole hours, and now, her AI do descended from the sky, walked into the home of her high school classmate she'd arranged to meet, walked into Yen Yen's home, walked into Fong Yuan's home. Mommy. Yen Yen ran out, threw herself into Lu Ruyan's arms. Lu Ruyan bent down and picked up her daughter, kissed her on the cheek, eyes full of tenderness. Did you miss mommy? Every day. Yan Yan wrapped her arms around her mother's neck, face full of smiles. Lu Ruyan carried her daughter into the living room. Her gaze swept over by Ningbing and Lu Nan. Finally landed on me. We have guests, she asked with a smile. I walked over and took the bag from her hand. Two high school classmates came by. Lu Ruyan nodded, looked at Bai Ningbing and Lu Nan with a warm, polite smile. Hello, I'm Ruyan, Fang Yuan's wife. Welcome to our home. Bai Ningbing opened her mouth to speak, but found her throat choked up. She'd never dreamed that one day she'd stand face to face with her AI do, and in such a setting. Goddess Lu. Bai Ningbing finally found her voice, but it trembled. I'm your fan. I've loved you for years. Lu Ruyan's eyes showed a flicker of surprise. Then her smile grew warmer. Thank you for liking me. She noticed the phone in Bai Ningbing's hand. Are you live streaming? Bai Ningbing suddenly remembered she was still streaming, and became flustered. Sorry. I'll turn it off. No need. Lu Ruyan shook her head. Since you're here, let me say hi to everyone. She walked over to Bai Ningbing, waved at the camera with a bright smile. Hello everyone, I'm Lu Ruyan. Thank you all for your continued support, and thank you for following my husband's Trim. The live stream went completely insane. The barrage was so dense you couldn't read it. Just a sea of awe. Scrolling wildly across the screen. Gifts were flying everywhere. Rockets, yachts, carnivals, one after another. Nearly crashing the streaming platform's servers. Bai Ningbing looked at the back-end data. Completely stunned. 1.2 million on live viewers, and growing by hundreds of thousands per second. What does that mean? This is the highlight of my streaming career. No, this isn't just a highlight. This is a legendary moment. And all of this wasn't due to her own efforts, but because she'd arranged to meet a high school classmate. A classmate overlooked by the whole class. A fringe person she'd almost forgotten. A delivery driver on a scooter. A poser mocked by the whole internet. A Chinese comic god. A Longting 11IO. A close friend. A billionaire. The husband of a national goddess. Bai Ningbing suddenly felt the world was truly amazing. Lu Nan stood aside. Her face beyond description. If learning I was a Chinese comic god earlier had brought her jealousy and regret, now seeing Lu Ruyan, she felt only despair. A despair of never being able to reach that level. She'd just mocked my wife as a small-time actress. And now? My wife is a national goddess. She'd just been scheming to latch onto the Longting 11IO. And now? The Longting 11IO is my brother. She'd just been smug about her Trim's popularity. And now? Her popularity was just riding on mine. Now that Lu Ruyan appeared in the Trim, all attention was drawn to her. Her Trim's popularity plummeted, while Bai Ningbing's Trim had broken 20 million. In this traffic battle, she'd lost completely, and lost without a doubt. Lu Ruyan interacted with netizens for a while, then put Yan Yan down, walked over to me. Are you tired? I asked her. She shook her head, eyes smiling. Not tired. Seeing you makes me het pie. I reached out and put my arm around her waist, gently kissed her forehead, but it was caught by the Trim. I'm dead. This lop is too sweet. National goddess's lop. I'm so jealous. Fang Yuan, what a godly life. Money, talent, looks, wife and kids, life winner indeed. I declare, from today, Fang Yuan is my life AI do. Where are those who mocked Fang Yuan earlier? Come out and take a walk. Bai Ningbing watched this scene, feeling a bit complicated inside. She remembered when she first arranged to meet Fang Yuan. The words on the phone. What? The school beauty bai is getting married? If you're borrowing money, no deal. Back then, she thought it was a joke. A sign of distance. A signal of not wanting to be disturbed. Now she understood it was a kind of ease. A kind of having enough. The calm of not needing anything from the outside. He doesn't need to please anyone. Doesn't need to prove anything. Doesn't need to care about others' opinions. Because he already has everything he wants. A wife who loves him. 2 lovely children. A career he's passionate about. A few close friends. And enough wealth to keep his family worry-free. How could someone lie that care about online mockery? Those who mock him, in his eyes, they're probably just buzzing mosquitoes. Annoying, sure, but they can't hurt him. For the rest of the time, Lu Ruyan warmly entertained Bai Ningbing and Lu Nan. She personally brewed tea and cut fruit, and had Yan Yan show them around the studio. The studio walls were covered with various sketches. Some were concept art for moonlit bird watching. Some were drafts for new works. And some were Yan Yan's doodles. Piles of manga books were stacked in the corner. Some in Chinese, some in foreign languages. It's covered with sticky notes all over it. Bai Ningbing stood in the center of the studio, looking at the familiar characters on the walls, filled with 1,000 emotions. She remembered Fang Yuan from high school. That boy who always kept his head down and was silent. Back then, everyone ignored him, thought he had no presence, and wouldn't amount to anything in the future. But who would have thought that this forgotten outcast of the class would become a legend in the Chinese manga industry? Classmate Fang. She looked at me, her eyes full of curiosity. Can I ask, when did you start drawing manga? I leaned against the doorframe, a cup of tea in hand. I thought for a moment. High school, I guess. I didn't have many friends back then, not many people to talk to, so I just drew to pass the time. Never thought I'd keep drawing for so many years since high school. Bai Ningbing was stunned. You were already drawing back then? I nodded. In my senior year, our family land was expropriated, so I didn't have to worry about tuition. Had more time to draw. But my drawings were bad back then. All embarrassing stuff. Bai Ningbing fell silent. She remembered that in senior year, Fang Yuan often took leave. Later, he didn't even take the college entrance exam. Everyone thought it was because his grades were too poor, and he had given up on himself, but never expected he went home to draw. And what's more ironic, is that the reason she cared about Fang Yuan back then? Asking about his grades, encouraging him to study hard, was just to surpass her competitors in the class ranking. Because Fang Yuan's grades were too poor, every exam would drag down the class average. As class monitor, she had to pay attention. She thought her kindness was pure, but now, she realized it was mixed with too much self-interest. Yet Fang Yuan remembered that tiny bit of care for 10 years. Classmate Fang, Bai Ningbing suddenly spoke, her voice a bit choked. Actually, back then, I knew. I interrupted her with a smile. You cared about me for the class ranking, right? Bai Ningbing was stunned. I may not have talked much back then, but that doesn't mean I was stupid. I shook my head. The times you talked to me were always right after the monthly exams. Your encouragement was just the same few lines over and over. How could I not see that? Then why did you? Bai Ningbing didn't know what to say. Still see you as my first lop? I chuckled. I told you, for me, at least you made me feel less ignored. The reason behind it doesn't matter. Bai Ningbing lowered her head, her heart a mix of emotions. She suddenly understood why Fang Yuan agreed to meet her. Wasn't because she, as the class beauty, had any charm, nor because he had any special feelings for her, but only because she once gave him a little warmth, even if that warmth was fake. He remembered it for 10 years. Classmate Fang. Bai Ningbing looked up, her eyes a bit red. I'm so I looked at her and was silent for a moment, then shook my head. No need to apologize. Actually, I should thank you. If you hadn't asked to meet me, I might never have contacted these old classmates, and Yan Yan wouldn't have had the chance to be on TV and be liked by so many people. Nearby, Yan Yan was playing with a black pig. Hearing her name, she looked up and waved at us. Bai Ningbing looked at that little face, a perfect copy of Lu Ruyan's. Couldn't help but laugh. Oh right, she suddenly remembered something. Classmate Fong. Can I ask how you met Goddess Lu? I was stunned, then looked over at Lu Ruyan. Lu Ruyan came over and took my arm, smiling with curved eyes. It's a long sheet to read. In short, once when I was injured filming, she happened to deliver food to the hospital, saw me sitting alone in the hallway crying, and stayed with me all night. Bai Ningbing's eyes widened. Just lie that? Lu Ruyan nodded. Back then, I had just debuted and wasn't famous. No one recognized me. She chatted with me, told me jokes, and even drew me a picture. Later, we added each other on WeChat and slowly got to know each other. Bai Ningbing didn't know what to say. The sheet to read sounded too simple, too ordinary. Nothing like the dramatic lop stories in AI do dramas. But for some reason, it felt very real and warm to her. That picture, Lu Ruyan looked at me, her eyes full of tenderness. I still have it. I smiled and said nothing. In the lie she trim, netizens started spamming again. What a fairy tale lop sheet to read. Delivering food and getting a national goddess wife? Fong Yuan, what luck is this? Not luck, it's fate, Oko. Fong Yuan's kindness from the heart is what earned him this lop. I've decided, starting today, I'm going to deliver food too. Wake up, you don't have Fong Yuan's face. Or his talent. Or his money. Ouch, that hurts, bro. Bai Ningbing looked at the comments, suddenly remembered something. Classmate Fong. She looked at me. Can I ask you one last question? Go ahead. Do you still deliver food now? I was stunned, then laughed. Det. I said, when I'm in a bad mood, I ride my little electric scooter around, deliver a few orders, see different people, hear different stories, and I feel much better. Bai Ningbing fell silent. She suddenly understood something. Fong Yuan delivers food not because he's poor, not because life forces him to, but because he likes it. He likes this simple way of life, likes interacting with ordinary people, likes finding creative inspiration in everyday life. Those who mocked him for delivering food were actually mocking themselves because they can't understand how someone can have wealth and status, yet still maintain a humble mindset. That kind of person is truly strong. As evening fell, the sun slanted westward. The sky was tinged with gold. Bai Ningbing and Lu Nan prepared to leave. Lu Ruyan warmly saw them to the door and had Yan Yan wave goodbye to them. Yan Yan, riding on the black pig, waved her little hand and said in a bee-bye voice, "Bye-bye, big sister. Come play again next time." Bai Ningbing smiled and waved, but in her heart, she knew there probably wouldn't be a next time. Not because she didn't want to come, but because she understood. Fong Yuan's world was ultimately different from hers. She was an influencer who needed traffic, needed popularity, needed to lie in the spotlight, while Fong Yuan was someone who truly enjoyed life, didn't need external validation, didn't need others' attention, only needed the people and things he cared about. Someone lie that was destined not to have much overlap with her. Classmate Fong, just before leaving, Bai Ningbing suddenly turned around. Can I ask you a favor? Go ahead. If anyone asks about today's lie she trim, about these things, can you just say I was lucky? I looked at her and was silent for a moment, then nodded. Okay. Bai Ningbing smiled, a smile of relief. She knew this was Fong Yuan's last kindness to her. With this, she could tell others that she was just lucky to have happened to meet a manga master, instead of being questioned about her own judgment and ability. Though she knew this kindness still carried a hint of dismissal. But so what? At least she had once stepped into this man's world, even if just for a brief glance. Lu Nan followed Bai Ningbing out of the yard. Her face was sour the whole time. Today's experience was a nightmare for her. She had wanted to ride on this meeting's popularity, and she did get popularity, but it was negative. She wanted to expose me as a fake rich guy, and the truth was exposed. But she was the clown. She wanted to latch onto Longting's 11io, but didn't succeed, and became a laughingstock online instead. What hurt her most was, Bai Ningbing did nothing, yet received my greatest kindness, while she schemed, and ended up like this. After Lu Nan left the village, Bai Ningbing suddenly spoke. Do you know what you did wrong today? Lu Nan was stunned and asked instinctively. What? Today? You weren't live streaming a class reunion. You were riding on popularity. Bai Ningbing looked at her, her eyes calm. From the start, you never saw Fong Yuan as a classmate, only as a tool for traffic. You questioned him, mocked him, sarcastic him, all to make yourself more popular. But you forgot one thing. She paused and said word by word. He is also a living person. Lu Nan was stunned. You cannot lie him, can disagree with him, but you should at least respect him. Bai Ningbing shook her head. The things you did today, if it were you, could you accept them? Lu Nan lowered her head and fell silent. Bai Ningbing said nothing more, and turned to leave. She knew whether Lu Nan could figure it out was her own business. She was no longer the meddling class monitor from high school. No obligation to enlighten everyone, but thinking about everything that happened today, she still felt a bit emotional. 10 years. 10 years ago, they were classmates in the same classroom. Some were dazzling, some were unknown. 10 years later, they each took different paths in life. Some still shine, some made a comeback, and that outcast once ignored by everyone now stands where everyone looks up to. Fate is really unpredictable. After seeing off Bai Ningbing and Lu Nan, I went back to the living room and saw Lu Ruyan reading with Yan Yan. Yan Yan sat on her mom's lap, her little finger pointing at the words in the book, reading them one by one. Though she stumbled a bit, her earnestness warmed the heart. I walked over and sat down next to them. Lu Ruyan looked up at me. Your classmates are gone, huh? I nodded. When she left, Bai Ningbing asked me for a favor. What favor? I repeated Bai Ningbing's words. Lu Ruyan listened and was silent for a moment, then smiled. That girl is actually quite smart. How so? She knows you and she aren't the same kind of people, so she doesn't seek deep friendship, just no regrets. Lu Ruyan looked at me with a smile in her eyes. People lie that know their limits, know when to advance and retreat. She'll do well. I thought about it and agreed with her. Bai Ningbing may have her own little schemes, but at least she knows how to respect people. Just that alone puts her way above Lu Nan. Oh, right. Lu Ruyan suddenly remembered about those trending topics today. What are you going to do? What do you mean? Now that your identity is exposed, a lot of people will come looking for you. Lu Ruyan looked at me. Publishers, film companies, media reporters, and those influencers wanting to ride on your fame. They'll probably come knocking soon. I was silent for a moment, then shook my head. What's meant to come will come. Can't avoid it. But I looked at her and smiled. As long as you and the kids are fine, nothing else matters. Lu Ruyan was stunned, then a blush crept onto her face. After all these years of marriage, she still got caught off guard by my sudden sweet talk. Daddy, Yan Yan suddenly looked up, her face serious as she looked at me. What's an influencer? I pinched her little cheek. Someone a lot of people lie. So is Yen Yen an influencer? I laughed. Yen Yen is daddy's little princess. Way more impressive than an influencer. Yen Yen's eyes lit up, and she smiled like a flower. Lu Ruyan watched us, father and daughter, her eyes full of tenderness. This was her home. Not some wealthy family, not some celebrity family. Just an ordinary, warm home. With the person she loves and the person who loves her. With lovely children and simple days. That was enough. The sun was setting. The last rays streamed through the window into the living room, gilding everything in gold. Yen Yen lay on the black pig's back, babbling a children's song. Lu Ruyan leaned on my shoulder, flipping through a magazine. I looked at the sunset outside the window, and felt a sudden peace in my heart. My phone rang. It was a WeChat message from Zhang Shuabin. Old Fong, fry tomorrow? Let's grab a drink. I replied with one word, oh cool. Then put down my phone, and continued watching the sunset. Life goes on. The days are still long. 3 days later, Bai Ningbing's Lai Shi Trim started again. This time, she didn't meet anyone. Just sat in front of the camera and chatted with netizens about classmate Fong Yuan. All I can say is I was lucky. She smiled at the camera. He is the most special person I've ever met, and the one I admire most. As for the rest, I can't say much, and I don't want to. Netizens were curious, but knew some things couldn't be forced. Bai Ningbing, will you meet other classmates in the future? Bai Ningbing thought for a moment and nodded. Debt, but not for traffic. Just to see how those who shared my youth with me are doing now. No matter what their identity, job, or status, in my eyes, they will always be the ones sitting in that classroom who spent 3 years with me as classmates. In the comments, some liked it, some were moved, and some disagreed. But Bai Ningbing no longer cared. After going through all this, she learned one lesson. The most important thing in life isn't how others see you, but how you see yourself. Just like Fong Yuan. At the same time, Lu Nan's Lai Shi Trim was a bit cold. Ever since her last Lai Shi Trim backfired, her popularity had been dropping, and she lost a lot of followers. Though she tried hard to turn things around, it wasn't working well. Right now, she was forcing a smile at the camera, interacting with netizens. But the comments still had some mocking words. Lu Nan, didn't you say Fong Yuan's wife was a small actress? So what happened? Lu Nan, weren't you going to latch onto Longting's 11IO? Did you succeed? Lu Nan, that beauty through surgery tag, still up, huh? Lu Nan's smile grew more and more stiff. Finally, she couldn't take it and ended the Shi Trim abruptly. The moment she turned off the camera, she collapsed into her chair, staring at the ceiling in a daze. She suddenly remembered Bai Ningbing's last words to her. You cannot lie him, can disagree with him, but you should at least respect him. Respect. When was the last time she respected someone? And when was the last time she was respected by someone? Lu Nan closed her eyes and let out a deep sigh. Maybe it was time to rethink what she really wanted. As for me, everything was the same. Every morning, I take the kids to school, then come home and draw. In the afternoon, I pick them up and play with them. Sometimes, when I'm in a good mood, I ride my little scooter to deliver a few orders. After my identity was exposed, a lot of people did come looking for me. Publishers wanted to commission work. Film companies wanted to buy rights. Media reporters wanted interviews. I turned down what I could, and had Zhang Shuabin handle what I couldn't. As he put it, Fong Yuan, you're just a hands-off bot. I smiled and didn't argue. Yeah, I'm a hands-off bot. Why waste time dealing with all that mess when I can spend more time with my wife and kids and draw a few more pages of manga? After all, that's what I truly care about. As for those netizens who mocked me, those who questioned me, those influencers wanting to ride on my fame, let them be. I've said it before, their mouths are on their own faces. They can say whatever they want. I don't care, and I'm not interested in caring. That evening, as usual, I rode my little scooter around, passing a traffic light. I saw a young man on the roadside looking down at his phone, playing a replay of Bai Ningbing's Lai Shi Trim. On the screen, Bai Ningbing was saying, Fong Yuan is the most special person I've ever met. The young man looked up and glanced at me. I glanced back at him. The light turned green. I twisted the throttle and rode my scooter slowly forward. The sun was setting, the evening breeze to you. I rode away into the crowded street. Just lie that silent, head down boy 10 years ago, who disappeared from everyone's sight. But this time, no one would ever forget him.